Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Audrey and I'm a freelance branding slash packaging designer and overall art enthusiast. So today in this video, I'm going to show you like some of the creative disciplines that I feel like we as graphic designers should at least appreciate or know about. And of course, I'll show you some of my favorite websites as resource for inspiration. I have a slight pet peeve. Whenever I hear a creative person answer the question, where do you find design inspirations? They always say Instagram or Pinterest. I mean, me too, honestly, I do that too. But there's so much out there to discover on the interwebs, on where you can find design inspiration. And the thing is with, Instagram or Pinterest, I feel like that constraints our horizons, I feel like that puts like a constraints to our creative horizons because you're only seeing things from what's happening now or what is going on in this algorithm, which I don't think I will ever understand. There's a whole world outside of us to get inspiration from. And I think one of the best ways to truly get inspired is to go outside, or if you can travel the world. I know that's not possible for everyone, or if you're like me and you don't go out much, you work from home, that's totally okay. It's just, in my opinion, in order to be truly creative, you have to be interested in other design disciplines. You don't have to be involved in them or like work in that industry, but just have a little heart for it. Instagram and Pinterest only scratch the surface of just how vast and in-depth the design world is. So the first discipline, of course, since we're here, is graphic design. I think it's important for us designers to be in tune of the design trends and what's happening in the design world, because it's important for us designers to understand design trends and design criticism. This gives us that extra brain power to rationalize our own design choices. So there are websites out there who gives us access to, emerging creatives, the top design agencies' recent projects and case studies. Reading about graphic design, I don't know if some of you are readers, but you need to read. And I think reading about graphic design also allows us to understand how we are basically impacting the world probably more than we can imagine. In contrast, even though this world is like 100% digital, I am so thankful that there are sources out there where they have archived all these, the design history and things that make up the design world today. So here are my favorite websites for graphic design inspiration. Now let's go on to packaging. So branding and packaging are like sisters in the graphic design world. When you have a brand, you have a product. If that product is tangible, it needs a packaging. Packaging is one of the best ways for a brand to stand out. And I love looking at, unique structures and almost like I'll say architecture of a packaging. I feel like, the packaging world can definitely take inspiration from the world of architecture. I love tactile experiences through textures and color. So personally, the reason why I even went into graphic design is because I love print media. I love print, and that includes, touching every box or paper and everything that I buy. There are great websites out there showcasing the best of packaging today. Illustration and art. They say art and design are different. Well, in some aspects, that can be true. Graphic designers and artists have always had this, close bond. Nowadays, there are tons of exciting and unique art styles to truly be inspired in. Nowadays, there are so many great and unique art styles out there: 2D, 3D, hand drawn, painted, digital, it doesn't really matter. All of them are great on their own. And the thing about art in comparison to design, it's free of restrictions. Now, it may be different if you're working on a certain client, of course, but art is like it's imagination. But needless to say, no illustrator or artist is better than the other. Typography. I don't think typography needs any other introduction. We, as graphic designers, have always been inclined to understand typography. Seeing great fonts and typography used well in any form of media, whether that's print or digital, is always so exciting to look at. So here are my favorite websites for type inspiration: UI and UX, and web design. When you have a brand, you have a product, you need a place to sell that in. And that is usually the website. And a website is usually the first impression of your brand. Although this is a completely different discipline that I have no credibility talking about. So whenever I'm designing a brand identity, the first thing I always ask myself is, what would this look like on a website? Because, as I said, it's one of the first impressions of your company. You better make that website pop. Websites and apps are really exciting to look at. Sometimes I feel like I should learn experience design, but yeah, maybe not now, maybe in the future. So here are some websites that I love looking at when I need some web design inspo. Let's proceed to motion design. So I don't mean to flex, but I've been learning motion design these past few months, and I can say I'm doing pretty good. Surprisingly, I thought I would, you know, suck at it the first time. Hopefully I can offer it as a service soon. So motion is a great pivot for graphic designers, in my opinion, because when you're designing a brand identity, you just can't help like sometimes I can't help envisioning my static logo moving. Some brands just call for more energy and movement, dynamic motion. Some brands don't, some do. Pinterest has a lot of motion design inspo. Just, type in, motion design for brands, yada yada. And also you can take a look at design agencies because that is usually like their thumbnail for their own projects. Unfortunately, I didn't really find a lot of websites dedicated to motion design. Interior design and architecture. So something pretty far off from the world of graphic design is interior design and architecture. I'm just wondering, like, has there ever been a graphic designer who moved to architecture? I feel like that's a pretty unique transition. But as designers, we can really appreciate the amount of work and engineering that goes into creating interiors for a restaurant or a house or a building, especially. For me, though, I use these disciplines for color inspiration, style, textures. So here are websites that I drool over when I need some interior design and architecture fix. Next is industrial design. I don't think industrial design is something we graphic designers tend to look at most of the time. I feel like we gloss over it. So I do think that we should find interest in this discipline because the products that we use, this computer, this microphone, these are industrial design, all the things that make our lives easier and more comfortable. It was created by some innovative mind. As a designer, our job is also to solve problems. And that is precisely the entire premise of industrial design. They don't just make cute things or aesthetic things. It's because there's a certain problem that needs to be solved. Use industrial design and its forward thinking approach into our work. It is hot. It is hot where I am. Anyway, next is editorial design. I have a soft spot for editorial design. It's the reason why I came into this world, in the graphic design world, before visual design truly went digital. The graphic design world was beaming of newspapers, magazines, posters. And of course, before there were softwares, people were doing things by hand. And despite the world changing, I think it's important for us to keep print design alive because through editorial design, we can learn about typography, layouts, taste, like taste in creative direction, whether that's through magazines, flyers, or books. Here are a couple of websites that I found that can serve as great editorial design inspiration. Next is fashion. I feel like fashion is one of those things where either you're interested in it or you don't. Some people don't care about fashion, and that's okay. But you don't have to be stylish or know how to pronounce every fashion brand out there to really not understand, but like appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into designing a dress, a bag, a shoe. You can love fashion for its evolution and how it shaped our culture today. Fashion has textiles and patterns. And I feel like those, teeny tiny details that we see in, a certain garment can really be inspiring. And, maybe we can take direct inspiration from that. And moreover, fashion has such a rich history. Clothing, sewing, garments, it has such a rich history throughout the world. Music. I know that music is an auditory medium, but visuals and music have always gone hand in hand because say if there's a song, there's usually a music video. If there's a record, there's an album cover because visuals and graphics can evoke excitement towards any music fans. Like, can you imagine if K-pop didn't have visuals, if they didn't pay attention to the videos, the posters? On the other hand, if you're a designer, you can use music to expand your horizons. Like it can literally like expand your brain. Not literally, but you know what I mean? So I encourage you to listen to new genres of music, the subgenres, new sounds, new artists. Introduce yourself to something you've never heard before. And you don't even have to like it. And when you do that, see what it does to your creativity. Maybe you discover something about yourself that cinema, movies, whatever you want to call it. It is truly one of those things that makes creativity truly exciting. Like, have you ever walked out of the theater with a renewed sense of self? That is me all the time. Like, I just saw Challengers a few weeks ago and I felt like I had this sudden urge to, like, I don't know, not play tennis, but be better and you don't even have to understand filmmaking or its jargons to appreciate the world of cinema. I'm not asking you to watch some eccentric art house cinema at some small theater in your city. Go on Netflix. My personal favorite is Mubi, or you can watch film essays here on YouTube. And I know graphic designers love a good movie poster. I think it is one of the dream projects for a lot of graphic designers. Me as well. The art of title design, other than posters, costumes, makeup, hair, production design. So as you can see, it is truly fun being a creative. There's so many things you want to dip your toes into. And yeah, just so you know, if you're doing any kind of creative work, just know that you are very, very lucky. So yeah, that is it for this video. If you like this video, oh, and by the way, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a full Notion page of every website I mentioned in this video. I'm gonna try and keep it updated every now and then. Please find that in the description below. So yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed everything that I talked about here. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.